Hello, it is I Martin. Here's a bit of a random video for me, but I want to talk about the fact that MatPat Game Theory is leaving. He's left his post as the host of the Game Theory and all the other theory channels. So I want to just talk about this for a minute. If you're not familiar, I'll give you a quick rundown. Basically, there's this guy called MatPat, Matthew Patrick, who's been on YouTube since like 2013, making this video called Game Theory. Then he started a channel called Film Theory. Then he did food theory and style theory, and he had like a live. He's been all over YouTube, and he's been hosting all these videos where he just has like videos of all sorts of interesting topics. Making theories about video games, then movies, and then just expanding. So he's just been a big part of this YouTube platform for a while, and I want to talk about it because the start of this year he announced, hey, on March 9th, I'm gonna be hosting my last episode of Game Theory, and then he did that, and now we're past it. And it's just like, okay, well, yeah. Now, obviously, he's not going to be gone forever. We're going to see him again. He's in all sorts of stuff coming up, but still, it's just his time hosting his shows is over. He still, like, owns all the channels, I guess, but still, it's just like, we're not going to be seeing as much as him anymore, and it's just kind of like, it's kind of sad, but at the same time, it was just really great, because he got to go on this huge farewell tour over the last couple months, and in that time, I realized, like, how big of a part of YouTube he has been, and how, like, it's just kind of sad to see him go now, but at the same time, it's just nice to see a YouTuber go off on such a high note, because we have so many cases of YouTubers who just have like controversies over the years, or just like have one big one and then they just disappear and we never hear from them again, or they pass away, or some other sad thing happens. But just to see a YouTuber like have such a great career and then go out on a high note it was awesome. So I just kind of wanted to like give a tribute to MatPat Game Theory. Now, I never was like a huge fan of him. I was never really into FNAF, any Five Nights at Freddy's, any of that stuff. But I definitely watched videos of his over the years, mainly on Game Theory and Film Theory, because it's just stuff I was interested in. He's definitely made a video on something you're interested in. Like, he made videos on Fallout I watched, Star Wars videos on Film Theory channels, all sorts of videos, and they were interesting, because it's like him going way too deep into like minuscule details in video games or movies or whatever, and that was just part of the charm of Game Theory videos. And I'm not saying it's going to go away. He's got new hosts, and I'm sure they'll keep up like the same level of quality. I have no doubt about that. I'm not as familiar with the new hosts, but still, he like went through them all and showed them all off, and I'm like, these seem like cool people, and it's nice that each channel is going to have his own host now, which I think is just, more unique and gives them all distinct. So I really hope the channels continue to go well, even after he's gone. And he made some really great videos on his way out. Like, over the last couple months, I think it was a bit before he announced his, but he made this video on Film Theory, just about, like, the state of YouTube as a whole, how everyone's trying to be like Mr. Beast now, everyone's trying to do like big things, which is kind of hurting, people like me, who are not making big things, or making smaller content. So he made like, it was kind of like he was speaking to me, and I was like, oh, that's so cool. So he made that video. He also made another video on how short form content is kind of doing really bad for the sake of creators, like people who want to be creators, want to have a personality, me, who want to like, be a creator and be known for being a creator, and not just, oh, I watched this funny video on TikTok. Who made it? I don't know. It doesn't matter. Look, I was just scrolling. He compared the fact that YouTube is an active viewing. Like, you actually have to choose which content you watch. Whereas on TikTok or YouTube Shorts, you just scroll and you just get fed stuff. You don't even register, like, who made this? You might occasionally see, like, a TikTok or a YouTube Short by the same person, but you never really, like, register of, like, oh, yeah, I watched this creator. You just, like, oh, sometimes I get that in my Shorts feed, which is just a bit of a concern for the future of content creation, because we're taking the creator out of the content. And that was another video where I'm like, that's so great, and it's very insightful. So it's like, sure, he makes silly videos like, how big is Luigi's bulge, but at the same time, he makes these really interesting videos. So it's just, that was a big part of the charm of MatPat. We had so many memes over the years. Of course, we have stuff like a Game Theory, and like, there's MatPat out of context.
Europe's colonization of the Americas was for similar reasons, to access and exploit the abundant natural resources there. Even today, we're seeing the same thing with deforestation, burning fossil fuels, fighting one another for more power and control, just like we see with the piglins.
He's been a big part of like meme culture and just internet culture as a whole. So that was just something that cool. I think I want to mention that. But the other video he made more recently on Film Theory was one he made like about how propaganda is used in movies, which is really interesting. Again, another like super interesting video that I was like, oh, this is great. But he talked about how propaganda is used in movies, and like how Disney would like has in a lot of their more recent movies have had kind of like pro AI messages, which he's speculating is like, well, are they just saying that just because they want to make a movie about AI, or are they trying to be like, hey, you remember how you all were upset about us using AI to write scripts? Maybe we're not doing that. Maybe we're not doing that. You guys would be okay if we were doing that, though, right? Like, look at the AI in this movie. The AI in this movie is nice. You'd be fine if we make if we have an AI write a script, right? So we don't have to pay our writers. So I don't know. That was just a really interesting, film theory he had there. Look at it. So, but also just because I mean he's just made so much content. Like I remember, like watching The Dark Knight Rises, like rewatching it a couple years ago, and I was thinking like, how far do you think Batman would have to fly that bomb? I wonder if MatPat Game Theory did a video. And yeah, sure enough, I looked up film theory. There's a video he had done in The Dark Knight Rises. How far away would Batman have to fly that bomb to have it a safe distance? And spoiler alert, there's no way he'd be able to fly it far enough to save Gotham City for long enough. So yeah, it's just there's so much content he's made. You can just find anything, and there's something he's made that you'll interest. So if you've never checked out his channels, I encourage you to. But I think most of you who are regulars on YouTube are gonna be familiar with him because he's not like big YouTuber like you have someone on the street who's not active on YouTube who's a YouTuber they'll probably say like Mr. Beast or PewDiePie or whatever. But like on YouTube, at least for people who are regularly on YouTube, you've come across MatPat at some point, even if you didn't realize it. So he's just a really great channel and I think an inspiration. And his whole like last video that he made was talking about game theory, but in the sense of like talking about the economics term. Because the funny thing is, game theory, the way he started his channel, he makes theories about video games, but game theory is an actual mathematical like theory that some guy, I remember the guy's name, but I took an economics class last semester, and the professor was like, okay class, today we're talking about game theory, and I was like, huh? Hello internet, welcome to game theory? That's what we're talking about? And no, we were talking about this crazy mathematician guy. I'm like, what is all this? But the thing is, in MatPat's final game theory video, he talks about this, and is like, I've gotten so many comments over the years, people saying they were in their economics class, and I'm like, oh, that was me. I had that recently. So that was just a cool thing I got to have while watching it. But the thing is, the great thing about his video, I encourage you to go watch his final game theory, but still, he talks about, the actual economics term. If you're not familiar, it's basically like the idea of, it's a way to look at, how people are going to react to other people's decisions. If you ever looked at someone and thought, I think they're going to do that, and then they do that, you're playing game theory. It's a way to look at how games work, right? The best example is stuff like the Prisoner's Dilemma, or like the split and steal sort of thing you've probably seen before. Like, hey, if you both choose the split button, you're both gonna like push a button and the other person can't see it. If you both choose split, you split the money. If one person chooses split, the other one chooses steal, they steal all the money. And if you both choose steal, nobody gets anything. So obviously, the best outcome is to say, well, I'm gonna press split, hoping that the other person presses split, and then hey, we both press split, we both get the money. And that's the best outcome. The idea being, things are better when we work together. And then MatPat took that concept and used it as like a really inspirational message of like, hey, YouTube as a whole works better when we collaborate. If we're all like trying to fight for views, all trying to jump from the next thing to like, oh, don't make a video on that. I was gonna make a video on that. But no, if I make a video on something and someone else makes a video on something, hey, your videos are getting viewers from are getting viewers from me, and I'm getting viewers from you. It works. It's a win-win for everybody when we all work together on YouTube. And that was just so inspirational. I was like, he did it again. MatPat. So it's just such a positive influence on YouTube, and that's why I want to talk about him, because he's been a positive influence on me and the way I look at content on YouTube, and just I think a lot of people. He means so much more to so many people, but I want to talk about it. I want to talk about him and just his influence on YouTube, because it's meant a lot to me and a lot of other people. So yeah, and it's just it's sad to see him go, like I said, but at the same time, he's not gonna really go anywhere. It's just we're gonna be seeing less of him online, and he gets to spend more time, with his wife and kid, and that's really wholesome. So, again, it's just. Also, he got to be in the FNAF movie. Did I mention that? I didn't see the FNAF movie, but I saw he was in it, so that's pretty cool. He got to be in the Five Nights at Freddy's movie, and I got to say that's just a theory. So, it's like probably the only reason I would watch that movie is just to see MatPat in it. So, I don't know. Anyway, that's pretty much all the thoughts I had. I want to talk about game theory, because MatPat Game Theory, he's just a cool guy, and it feels almost like he's passing the torch. He's passing the torch on to the next generation of theorists, of YouTubers. We're gonna make good videos. I'm not gonna tell you I'm gonna start making theory videos, but maybe I will. I'll make a game theory style video one day or sometime soon. I don't know. I think that'd be kind of fun to do, just about Star Wars or whatever. But it really does feel like he's not only passing the torch to the new hosts, but like all of us YouTubers and us new generation Gen Z dudes. We all get to make our videos now. So I don't know. It's a really sweet gesture from him, and yeah, that's all I had. So, thanks everybody. Really, that's the best I can do for an outro. You know, MatPat has That's Just a Theory. A game theory. Thanks for watching. And that's such a cool outro. Why don't I have a cool outro? I want a cool outro. Gosh, dang it.